Hey, everybody. How's everything going today? I just thought I'd jump on here tonight, do a quick live feed. We got some trailer stuff going on, which is kind of the usual anymore. Trailer pool kind of has some issues tonight, and old Tank's passed out right about there. And of course, we got to have the fatty cake back there. But anyway, so tonight's video, live stream. I've got a buddy of mine who came over here and he started on the company side, and he has transitioned from the company side and he is now over onto the IC side with me. And we were going to talk about kind of some of the differences and things of that nature, and to see, try to do a compare and contrast about how everything ran on the company side versus him getting his truck and all of that, and to how he's transitioned over here and what the transition was like. So anyway, if you're catching this on the repeat, go ahead, drop a like down below. If you have any questions, any comments, drop them in here and we'll do our best to get back to them. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring on Mr. Hunter here with the New Hampshire Lone Wolf Transportation. So hey there, buddy. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good deal. Glad to have you on tonight. So so are you liking it over here on this side finally? It took you forever to get your truck, buddy.
Well, for the most part, I like it over here. It takes a little bit to get used to running. Not necessarily a little bit. It was pretty easy for the most part to get used to running for the rate instead of the miles. But that's because I had the experience of running a load board on the company side.
Okay, I got you. So I've got a web page here pulled up real quick, and it's from their hiring page about their company drivers. And I was going to bring it up and pull it up here, and I was going to have you verify some of the information, make sure it is actually accurate, or if there's something that needs to be updated, or if there's anything that's on there that you know of that isn't on here. So do you have an issue with me doing that real quick, and then we can kind of go through it? I'll read some stuff off, and then you can verify. What?
Just to go ahead.
All right.
See if anything's changed.
Let me get in here, and we will share my. Hold on. This one right here. So, all right, let me zoom in over here. So, right here on their company side, this is off their hiring webpage here. So basically everything they advertise is like a regional type thing, even if it is OTR. It says they start you out at 54 cents per mile based on experience. And here's the big kicker. Like, this is something that I find really interesting, is they said, they have a big, bold question here. It says, have you ever wanted to plan your own loads as a company driver? It says, well, now you have the freedom to do so and to check out our drive plan program. And you were just mentioning the fact that you ran on the company load board prior to that. Do you want to comment on that real quick? And then
I
give me a rundown on that.
I asked at the orientation building about that, and I was told that you have to have at least 6 months of experience within the past 6 months. So pretty much they want you to come straight from another company and see that you have experience to be able to run that. Otherwise, you have to wait and get on the waiting list for it. Apparently, there is a waiting list for it now.
Okay. So what are the requirements for running on that load board? And is there any areas where they have to dispatch you out of versus you being able to dispatch yourself? What's the nuances and caveats to that?
The only two places they had to dispatch me out of were Southern Texas and so basically like San Antonio and South, and Florida. And you cannot go west of I-35.
Roger. So it says right here the fleet averages between 21 and 2,700 miles per week. Is that pretty accurate for you when you were booking your own loads on the company side? it seems like it would, at least from my perspective, it's got to be more competitive on the company load board, because you guys, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong here, only have access to the general freight loads, whereas on the side that you've transitioned to and the side that I'm on, we have access to spot market freight from brokers, and we have access to the company freight also. And as of lately, I know myself and a lot of our other guys once fuel started skyrocketing and the spot market started tanking, we started going over and butchering the daylights out of the company freight, the
Yeah, you did,
contract
because
stuff.
I was there when that started happening, and I realized the difference immediately. It's like, man,
Okay.
what happened to all our loads?
Okay. So, okay. So basically, that's something that is a direct representation. So it can be relatively competitive, and it can get tough at times and kind of tighten up. Is that correct?
Yeah, and when you first get on there, it's just learning how to plan your loads to begin with. Learning what areas have good loads come out, where all the miles are. I mean, you're chasing the miles over there. You're not chasing
Right.
the rate. So the huge difference is, like on our side, the loads from, let's say, West Point, Virginia, they go down to Laredo. They don't pay us too well.
Okay.
But over there, that's a great load because that's a ton of miles, especially since we can't make any
Right.
miles west of I-35.
Buddy, I don't know why anybody want to go west I-35 right now over here, but
If you're a company driver and you're getting paid all the loaded and empty miles, you would.
yeah, I don't know why they don't give you all them dollar a mile loads to California. I keep saying y'all would love those, but no. Anyway, but that's a different story. So, all right, so that's kind of like a brief synapse of that. So, would you say, as your experience as a company driver here, before you became or transitioned over to the IC side of things, would you say it was an overall experience? And if so, what did you enjoy most about it? And give me a couple pros, give me a couple cons.
Well, I mean, the pros are you get the time to learn how to run the load board and decide if running a load board is something that you can handle, or if being dispatched is better off for you. I mean, over on I'd assume that you could ask for help over here on the independent contractor side as much as you want and get it from them and almost basically be dispatched if you ask them to. Over there, all you have to do is say, hey, the load board's not working out for me. Can I come back over and be dispatched? And they'll just put you back on the normal thing that they have over there.
Okay. I got you. So, what would you say was the biggest con then?
I guess I'd have to say the biggest con, and it's an understandable reason why they do this. You can't deadhead over 130 miles. Well, actually,
Yeah,
now
buddy.
I believe that dropped to 110. And now they can't just dispatch you out of a freight lane. They've got to get you a low to move you to a different lane now.
Yeah, them deadhead miles over there. So,
but I mean,
all right.
As a whole, I enjoyed the experience in the end.
Okay. Well, good deal. So, so we're going to transition over to what everybody really wants to hear about. How's everything over here on the IC side? Because that's where like most of my audience comes from, is like the IC side. People want to know how to make money here, how everything works, requirements, things of that nature. So we're going to go back to the internet here, and I'm going to give like a brief summary because they have updated this, and it gives it a lot more information than what I'm just going to be able to remember off top of my head as to the updates they've had here since then. So let's go and take a look at this real quick. So, there we go. Okay, so this is their newest, most accurate thing that they have put up here on their hiring page about owner-operators. Okay, so they're saying owner-operators earn average of $45,000 plus revenue per week. Those are obviously gross numbers.
Yeah.
The only time I have ever grossed 4,500 on a week was if my truck was broke, I was in the shop, or I was leaving the house or going to the house. On average, my average here is I tend to average between 51 and 6,500. I can get up higher, and that depends on how hard I want to run. But typically, that's where I typically sit on my average. And they say that you can earn over 225,000 per year. Um, I've only heard a story of one person getting that. But if you live out here,
Depends
I'm
on if
sure
they're
that's,
talking gross or net.
yeah, like gross. Yeah. So like last year, I was here for a total of 6 months. I started in May and I ran all the way to December. From May to December, I grew. And then, granted, now remember, fuel was cheap. Okay, from May 12th when I started to December 31st when I got my 1099, my total revenue that I had generated, gross numbers, was 100 grand in 6 months gross before all my expenses taken out. Um,
That
so
leaves you, if
really,
you'd been here for a whole year, it would have been around 200 grand.
right, and that's going home every week to every 2 weeks, and not running that hard. But the caveat to that is fuel was super super cheap. It's not that cheap anymore. So my net number. No one really cares what you gross. It's all about what you net and bring home. So realistically, out of that 100,000 in that 6 months, I would say I probably netted. I'd say, and because everything is all a whole number, because I was leased to a different carrier prior to coming here, so all of my numbers on that aren't actually broken down per company. So like for the whole total year with the other company and this one, my business grossed 183,000 last year, which netted me like 83, free and clear to take taxes and the business expenses and stuff out of. So realistically, out of what I made here at USA was probably, I'd say, out of that 100,000, I'd say I kept 65 of it, and then a lot of that went and reinvested back in the business. I built a shop. I got a couple of vehicles, paid them cash, to be able to move around and do things in the business and have a work truck and a basic mobile shop set up to where I can go work on my truck. I reinvested heavily the first year, so really it was our actual profit margin was a little less than what it actually said on paper because of how much we put back in the business. Um, and this, and now, since we've had so many people jump off of here and leave, which I'll get back into that as to why, they're saying that now they have a $10,000 sign-on bonus. I wish I would have got
If only
that.
I was just going to say, if only I'd waited a little bit longer on this. I mean, I would have got my truck later, but $10,000? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Heck, I only got 1,500, and then I had to take out a $1,000 loan to put down on the truck.
right. So that would have been nice. Now, the reason that people jumped and started leaving as soon is because when the spot market freight started dumping last year, they went into an all-inclusive, all-in rate on the spot market freight. And since the fuel has shot up and our overhead has went up because of the cost of fuel, and we're not able to pass that back to the customers, they're going back to the way they used to do it, where now we have a fuel surcharge on all of our freight, not just the brokerage freight, and the contract freight, but we have it on all of our loads. So a lot of people who left because of that, well, I don't know, maybe they can take advantage of this new sign-on bonus, that 10 grand, if they decide to come back here. So and also if they have a 2% of your total net or total gross that you at the end of the month, as long as you don't have any hour service violations, any preventable accidents, DOT violation, blah 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 blah, pass all your inspections, you get an extra 2% for the entire month for everything that you gross that month. And the big one that is really nice is, I don't really know if it's 60% increase from 15 cents to 25 cents. I'm not a mathematician or a wizard, but anyway, the fuel discount has went up from 15 cents to 25 cents per gallon. And that is quite wonderful.
That's one of those things I was able to take advantage of right from the get-go.
Yeah. So, but it's just, hey, quit chewing on your foot. Stop that. There's people watching. We're on the internet. Quit. Mind your manners.
You can't see him.
Just lay the. Oh, here he comes. He's gonna come say hi. Hi, Tank. But anyway, so it was kind of nice that they actually did increase that because the fuel man there for a while was just eating me alive. It got like last month was probably the worst month I've ever had here just because of fuel costs and that rise of fuel increase. So
this is my friend.
Okay, hey, here's somebody with some information. That $10,000 sign-on bonus is if you bring your truck and not if you lease a truck. So good point there, ML3. Yeah, I believe if you lease a truck and you are getting a TEL truck, a SFI truck, a pro lease truck, you just get the transition bonus of, I believe, is 1,200, maybe 1,500. Okay.
Yeah, 15, and then they will also offer you another $1,000 loan that you can take out from them. So grand total of $2,500.
I got you. So, yeah, let me pull that information up here real quick. That way we can cover the other side of it. I don't want to be giving out bad information here. So let me pull this up here real quick. Plus, they also have a list of places where you can get your trucks from and yada, yada, yada. But thanks. Good calling that out there, ML3. I appreciate that, buddy.
That's something neither one of us knew about.
Well, I should have dug better into that. That's on me.
Well, that's also one of those things that it's like with every company. They'll tell you the best thing they can to get you there, and then there's the fine print when you finally get there.
Oh, yeah. So
every company does it. So it's not me talking bad about USA. Every company
does
it.
No, I'm not talking bad about them. Okay, here is that information here. Okay, so here you go. Get in control of your career with lease purchase opportunities at USA, yada, 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 your typical stuff. There it is, $1,500 transitional bonus / down payment assistance. So you can take that directly and transition that right off to wherever you're getting your truck from, whether that's TEL, SFI, Priority, Pro Lease, Lone Mountain. I don't know how many other people they do business with as far as getting a third-party lease on truck. This one's just pretty basic. Increased pay package, plenty of miles. So, yeah, the only difference that I see from what they advertise on their hiring stuff between if you come here and lease a truck and come here and do it that way versus if you bring your own truck is the transition bonus or the sign-on bonus. So if you own a truck, hey, $10,000, pay me. But, I don't know. That it depends on what you're going to do. But at least the nice thing is though, we're not stuck strictly on, running spot market freight where there's no fuel surcharge or anything like that. So all right, buddy. Anyway, so coming from a company driver over to the IC side, so tell me how that whole thing went and how long did it take for you to get set up with your truck and who did you get your truck through?
Well, I got my truck through SFI. I started the process in November of last year. I ended up getting a Volvo, which I'm sitting in now, which is very comfortable. I still have yet to do my tour video of it, so we'll save that for a later date because I got some more stuff coming in for the truck that I want to show off. And then from let's see. So I kept in touch with SFI from November of last year until about 2.5 weeks ago. And they sent me an email while I was on home time. I didn't go home from Thanksgiving until about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And ironically enough, as I knew what would happen, just like how you go to bed, you're sitting up waiting to get unloaded, and then you go to bed, and you're unloaded magically. Well, I finally went home, and magically my truck was ready. So
yeah, it sounds like you should have went home a lot sooner, like I told you.
coulda, coulda, woulda.
But
anyway, I went. Came back out. Was had a plan to get up to my truck, and that didn't work out because my company truck had an SCR fault. I was stuck in West Memphis for about almost a whole week.
Okay.
And finally got out of there. My company dispatcher helped me find a load to get me up to our yard in South Holland because my truck was up in Green Bay, Wisconsin at the SFI main building, pretty much. So I got up there, went and signed some documents, met my SFI representative, and signed documents. They gave me the keys to the truck.
Are you connected to Wi-Fi by chance, buddy? You're breaking up really bad.
No, I'm just in a bad area.
Okay. Do you have a hotspot in your truck you could possibly turn on, like one of these? Maybe get yourself a little bit better service.
I can try it.
Okay. Yeah, because it's coming across pretty rough here. So, anyway, in the meantime, while he is working on getting all of that goodness squared away, so I got my truck. I came in straight to USA as a independent contractor, owner operator, whatever you want to call it. I got my truck through a place called Pro Lease. And this is their Facebook page here, and it's got some contact information, some emails, and all that good stuff. Their inventory that they have are 2017 through 2019 Kenworth T680s with Cummins ISX engines. The Kenworth 2017s are 2 years, the 19s are 3 years. And this is the breakdown: weekly lease payment $750, weekly maintenance estimate $200, security deposits $1,000. And yada, yada, yada. Kurt says current waits to be seated is 4 to 6 months. I've had really good experience working with Charlie and the Pro Lease team. And they've done absolute wonders where I've not, like, they work really well. They're good people. They work with me. They answer the phones. They answer emails. You know, it typically works really well, at least for me, to try to get everything across for them. I had some family issues as of lately. I had to rush home. I got a phone call a while back. I had to rush from my mom. She called me and told me that my dad had passed away while I was on the road. So and this is where, like, this is why I'm so set on staying here for a while, because of how this experience went. So I got a call from my stepmom, and she had told me that my dad had passed and I was on the road, and I was in Toledo, Ohio, and I was on my way to Pennsylvania. So I turned my truck around, called everybody, and I went straight back to home, which was 350 miles in the opposite direction. Called them up, told them what happened. Everything. They didn't ever once complain, didn't say anything. They just said, hey, go home, go take care of your family, do what you got to do. And they sent somebody out to come pick up the trailer. Everything was kosher, didn't have no issues coming back on me. And I called the guys up at Pro Lease, Charlie, and I told him what was going on. And they deferred my payments and put them onto the back end of the lease so I could take care of things at home and not come out in the hole. So for me and my experience with them, they have done really well, and they've been a good business partner. And the truck payments themselves are reasonable, and the equipment's decent enough to where I've not had a whole lot of issues. And the issues that have come up, the majority of them I've been able to fix myself, either A, on the side of the road, or B, at home. So, but luckily, mostly it's all been routine maintenance. So anyway, did you get connected? Can we hear you a little bit better there?
I don't know. Can you?
Yeah. Hey, there you go. You actually sound good for once. You sound a lot better than you look today. So anyway.
What's your excuse?
Oh,
look.
Hold on.
What did you do?
No, we timed out on my camera. It's got a 30-minute record limit on it. So we're at that 30-minute mark where I had to refresh everything. But anyway, so Yeah, so you have your truck through SFI, whereas I got mine through ProLease. So I'm assuming yours is a brand new truck, whereas mine was used. I got mine with 355,000 miles on it.
Yeah,
So
mine had like 1,300, 12 or 1,300 miles on it. I think it was a truck they used to transport all the others from the manufacturer to their location.
okay, so I got you. So since you've transitioned to from the company side over here to the IC division, um, what's your impression so far? I know you're still relatively early in it, but you've been talking with me and a bunch of other ICs for the span of time that you've been here. So, I mean, what's your overall impression? Like, has the stuff that you've heard, did it end up being true, or like, was it all fluffed up and sugar coated? Like, honestly.
For the most part, everything's been good. I mean, it takes a little bit of getting used to. Like I said, I had the leg up of knowing how to run the load board to begin with. But at this point, it's pretty easy to do. You just gotta stay out of the high fuel places that have low rates, you know?
Still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, kind of. You went out there for a minute.
Well, unfortunately, like I said, I'm not in the best area. I don't have 5G. I got 4G and 2 bars and my hotspot going.
I got you. So, so do you mind talking like numbers at all, or are you not even like, are you not there yet, or do you need more
I
time running
mean,
before like you're comfortable with talking numbers and stuff?
I've only got 1 full week in the books for numbers. I mean, I can share that.
Hold on. Uh, see if I can get this to work here. Oh, I apparently am having some technical difficulties here. All right, we are gonna end this. That's not working. Uh-oh. Anyway, there we go. Hey, Mark. There we go. Now we're on here. Hey, buddy, how you doing? So, um, anyway, I've got some numbers that I can go over here with. I've got them written down over here. I gotta grab them out of my folder. And I was going to give some basic rundowns of like what an average week on my side looks at, and then you can kind of compare and tell me what you think, whether it makes sense or not. So, granted, bear with me. I have a whole sheet here. So, anyway, so like for this week, yeah, you like my organization, my flow chart here. If you need to pause the video on the repeat to get an idea of this, it'll make some better sense. But so this is a week leaving the house after everything happened with my old man, and once we got everything squared away with him. So I got 3 loads, paid X, Y, and Z here, for a total of $5,163.28. Okay, and that's total gross revenue for the week. That's the line haul. So 67% of that is $3,459.40. Right here, if you can read my chicken scratch. Okay, there's the loads, there's the line haul. So total fuel surcharge is 1,255.6. Probably can't read that. I'm just going to skip doing all that. Okay, so my total fuel cost, and this is with DEF in total, was $2,020.84. That's a
Where
lot.
have you
After the
been
fuel
getting fuel?
discount, dude, it's been expensive. After the fuel discount, that brought my total fuel cost down to $1,500 for the week after the discount. So you take your fuel discount totals, you bring down your fuel surcharge, bring that out, subtract that from my total with the discount, leaves my total net cost that I paid for fuel to be $260 for the week after the fuel surcharge. Fixed costs are $980. So you take the 3,459.40 minus 980 because that the 354 or the 3459.40 is what's net to me after USA takes their percentage. Take that minus the $9.80, leaves $2,479.40. Take my net fuel cost out, which is the $260, leaves me with a total for a week of $2,219.37. And there's my little flow chart as to how my brain functions. It's probably a mess. So, but that's, if I was running the spot market freight, I wouldn't have anything to be able to offset those fuel costs. So I'd be, if I made the same amount off the spot market running the brokerage freight with no fuel surcharge, I'd be paying that whole $15.15 for the fuel after the discount. So that for me is why I've started running the contract freight, because I can offset my cost of fuel and it just basically bills it back to the customer. Luckily enough, we get that fuel surcharge here. So, especially since I've got an older model truck and I get, 7 to 8 miles per gallon on it, depending on the terrain and how heavy the load is. But most of the loads have been really heavy. So I've been getting like at 60 mile an hour to 62, and I've been on the East Coast, I've been getting 5.8 to 6 miles, 6.5, because of how heavy everything's been and where I've been at. I should have done better. Should have booked better loads and stayed in the Midwest where it was flatter. But
I know how that goes. I have no idea where you went. Hello? Apparently he's having some severe technical difficulties, or I am.
Nope, I'm back. My MacBook here. I'm not. I usually have a mouse, but since I'm using my DSLR camera, I moved a little too quick on my keypad, and it took me back to the prior page. So at least it didn't kill the broadcast. But hey, you got to be a star for a minute.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we got a couple people in here. Where's everybody watching from? And do y'all have anything to add? Do you want to come in, speak your piece? I'm more than willing to, answer questions or to have a conversation about maybe someone's got an opposing idea that, is different than what I see. I'd love to have a conversation about that. So.
By the way, I have no idea how you spent that much on fuel.
Well, I mean, it was just, I've burned through a lot of it because all the freight's been heavy. So when I'm getting, when I've got running over here on the East Coast and it's straight up and straight down and I've got 44,000 pounds in the box, it is what it is. Okay.
I mean, I only spent about $1,300.
I got you. Hey, Mark. Yeah, buddy. See, when it comes to breaking down numbers, there's a lot of guys that'll just say, "Hey, this is what it is." And in the future, I'm going to do a video where I break them down even further, and I go through and I list out what each of my actual fixed costs are. But this was something I kind of went through today, and was actually pen to paper trying to figure everything out. And I figured it'd be a good idea to toss that in here because, a lot of people say they make X, Y, and Z. And, and that's not my business to get involved in someone's personal, matters and how they run their business or whatever. But, I try to be transparent and I try to be, honest and upfront about things. So, like I said, I don't normally do that, but, I don't mind breaking down a week here and there, a good week, a bad week. This is just an average week. And that's just kind of how I calculate everything and how it's working, showing that, you can still make money here with the cost of fuel being high if you book your loads smart. Just just stay off the East Coast because the fuel is stupid expensive. I think in Virginia it was like $5.85 was the cheapest. And I dumped in just enough to get from place to place. Like I don't actually fill, I just buy my fuel. I buy the quantity of fuel that I need for the load based on my fuel economy and the terrain and how much weight I have in the box.
The cheapest I found here in Virginia was $4.78.
Okay, we got one here. Left orientation last Wednesday. This is my first week out. How do you guys feel about the new fuel surcharge changes? Okay, buddy. So when I first got here last year, and Mark, if you've been here longer than me, chime in here and let me know if I'm accurate here. Um, Prior to where it was with the all-inclusive rate that everyone was super upset about, and I understand why they were. We had fuel surcharges on everything, the brokerage freight and the customer freight, and I made more net to my truck when we had the fuel surcharge, even though the fuel was cheaper back then and the fuel surcharge wasn't as much as it is today. I think this whole week it was like 68 cents on everything for the fuel surcharge I calculated.
Yeah,
But
something like that.
I think personally it is a step in the right direction to help us offset these fuel costs, because there's been an exodus of independent contractors that have left here because they have higher costs of living and they have higher truck notes, which is not a bad thing. That's just their situation. I'm not judging here. But with the cost of fuel going up, if you can't make a profit, you got to do what you got to do. So, I understand why they did it. But I think personally, as far as the fuel surcharge changes, I think it is totally going in the right direction. And the fact that they came out and owned up and said, hey, we screwed up, speaks volumes of their character. So, what do you think?
Oh, I would agree with that. I wasn't here when the fuel surcharge, when you were to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
All I've been here for so far is the contract freight, the contract freight having the fuel surcharge.
Mm-hmm. So, but ML. Oh, yeah, exactly, bro. They owned it. They straight came out, sent out a message, and said, "Hey, we screwed up. We thought we were doing good, and we obviously made a mistake." And then they're correcting it. So, I mean, when I was in the Army, that was the big thing that I always was super adamant about, is integrity and doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And they have shown their integrity to what they believe in, and the fact that they want to have us as business partners. Are they perfect? No. The trailer pool has its issues, but they're trying, and they are at least owning up to their mistakes, and I can work with that. I had a flatbed company I was working with years ago, and was it years ago? How long's that been?
No,
2 years?
That wasn't that long ago.
Oh, no, yeah, no, that was about 2 years ago. I was working with a flatbed company. I'm not going to say any names or anything. But I caught him in a bunch of lies, and I'm hauling 50,000, 55, 60,000 pound steel suicide coils, and I caught you in a bunch of lies, and you had no integrity. And then you lied about being caught in your lies. So, I didn't stick around there for long. I went right back to where I came from until I found a situation that fit my family better. So, no, the like I said, they do have integrity. They at least try. So I don't have an issue with that, and at least giving them the time to work through their growing pains. They're not perfect. Nobody is, especially me. I screw up daily. So.
Don't you worry. You're not alone on that. I may have stepped on the load that I'm on.
Yeah, that's another thing. I wish you would have called me before you booked that, because I would have told you, hey, dude, check your delivery. It's a holiday weekend. That's one big tip I would give everybody, is to make sure that you check your delivery times when you're looking at your loads. Make sure you're booking things that you can get delivered and into the pay cycle. So
I knew this wasn't going to go in the pay cycle, but what I didn't remember was that how many days there was between, the 27th and the 1st.
Right. You IR math. See, that's what you get for thinking.
Uh-huh.
So, anybody else have any more questions here, or anything they want to add to? If you guys want to come in and talk, I have no issue bringing you guys in whatsoever. Dude, I had the exact... Dude, Hunter, you remember when I was talking about what happened at Marcy? I had the exact same thing happen to me at Marcy. Every time I have tried to book a load out of that Hammond Walmart, to go to Marcy. At least I think that's the load you're talking about. Dude, they screwed me too on a 10K week because I was gonna go. Where was I going? I was going from Hammond. I left home, was gonna go to Hammond, take that to Marcy, Marcy to Ohio, Ohio to PA, PA to Georgia, Georgia back to New Jersey. And it was like 98 something on a. Yeah, I was right, dude. I don't even book loads out of that Hammond area anymore because of that. Yeah, that particular Walmart, the one in the just, I don't know why they suck at getting things out on time.
It's a rare occasion that their dummy loads turn into real
Right.
loads.
And it's sad because that's a really decent paying load. Like, I don't like New York, but it pays good enough to where it doesn't matter what I like, you know?
Well,
Syracuse
it's
ain't bad
York,
anyway.
so
But
it's not like you're going into the boroughs or anything.
yeah. They called me. They called me one time to run a load to, where was it, Staten Island or something like that. I was going down to Laredo, and they called me to and asked me if I wanted to take a load out of Laredo. I delivered to New Braunfels, and they called me from Laredo and said, "Hey, I got a load going up to the boroughs, and I can't find nobody to run it. It's paying like 7,000 in revenue and whatever the fuel surcharge was." I go, scratch my head there, and I try to figure out how I was going to break his heart and let him down nicely. And then I had this beautiful light bulb go off in my head, and I just kind of said, "Hey, buddy, I would love to do that for you, but I do not feel that I am adequate enough or well equipped or have the necessary skills to be able to navigate the boroughs." He laughed, I laughed, then he cried, and that was the end of that conversation. I've never gotten a call about going up to the boroughs ever again.
I've been up there once. Going in the middle of the night, you're perfectly fine. Getting out while everybody's awake and cutting you off in traffic, and then half of their bridges up there are mislabeled or labeled for a foot of snow. So they labeled them 12'6" when they're really 13'6", and you run into that issue, and you're just like, uh-oh. So you see a few trucks going to the bridge, and you're like, oh, it is okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lesson learned, buddy. Yeah, absolutely right. Well, right now, I just had to give up my my whole week this next week. I already had, I was booked till Wednesday, and we had. I went to this load to pick up a load out of the shipper in Kentucky down in a hauler, and it was all horrible to get to. It was dark. It was bad, and I get hooked up to this trailer, and I put a short out about it if y'all haven't seen it, but the DOT inspection paperwork says, and the noseboard says 8/4/2020. So the last time it was DOT'd per the paperwork was in 2020, and I called Road Assist, and they said that it's a year out of inspection. I don't know how many people's touched this trailer since then, but yeah, we just had to nuke my whole week for next week, and this load's now not going to go on this pay period because of however many people have touched this trailer that didn't do a pre-trip or post-trip. So I'm not booking anything till I get this whole thing resolved with the trailer, Mark. But yeah, if you can get something to get moving through the holiday, buddy, I'd run right through it. 19 hours at Reynolds Wrap, Huntersville, North Carolina. Yeah, they take their time up there, it seems like. Yeah, buddy, if you can avoid getting fuel in North Carolina,
I just picked
buddy.
up out of there. It wasn't that bad.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he got there at an off time, but yeah, don't be getting fuel in North Carolina if you can avoid it. If you do, only put enough in there to get you out of there and back to somewhere where they're cheaper, because they're expensive there, y'all.
Basically, north or west of Virginia is where it starts getting cheaper.
Yeah, and then you hit PA, and I think it's like, what, $6 a gallon in Pennsylvania right now?
I don't want to talk about Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah. Hey, how is the fuel price up there, by the way?
I don't know. I got enough fuel, so I didn't have to deal with it, but I did see $6.30, $6.40. And I was like, yeah, I'm just glad. I was up in North Canton, Ohio. I went to the Loves there, and they had it for $4.89.
Man, You suck. They got 555 here in Tennessee. I haven't found anything cheaper than that yet. I need to start doing that whole mud flap thing. Everyone's said, "Go get mud flap. Go get mud flap."
Well, you can't do it with our card. They didn't activate the part of our card, our fuel card that we use it.
Now you're telling secrets. Stop it. Hey, anybody that's here watching in the chat, let me know. Have y'all actually used mud flap, and what's been your experience? I hear great things about it. I'm just kind of old fashioned, and I guess I'm slow to catch on to the trends, and I don't just like jumping onto something because everybody.
Here, I'll give you my experience with it because I used it when I got the truck to fuel up the first time. Basically, you pull up the code, you walk inside, you give them the code, they turn the pump on, and what happens is you pump your fuel, and a day or two later, you get an email from Mud Flap telling you what you actually paid versus what the pump price was.
Oh, okay. My first experience with mud flap is I had just found the app and downloaded it, and I was looking at the fuel prices back when it was, back in, what was it, late 2019, 2020. Was looking about getting into it, and I was looking at the fuel prices, and I guess where my hang up on it comes is I was parked at a Casey's in Indiana that had a truck stop there, and they did the mud flap thing, and the guy had paid for his full tank of fuel on the mud flap thing, and then walked inside to the Casey's and said, "Hey, scan this," and he went to scan his phone, and they apparently, I guess, I don't know if they accepted it or not, but he drove off, and he was not very happy, and I don't think he got diesel fuel. So that could have been early years, though. I don't know.
I think I ran into that same guy when I used it.
Did he drive a Gold Freightliner?
I think so. He told me what happened is they got it all messed up. It was between him and one other guy that had gotten fuel with the Mud Flap app, and they got the codes confused. One guy got like $800 worth of fuel, and the other guy got like $350 worth of fuel. So they got it all worked out with Mud Flap, but it was not fun at the store.
Wait a minute. If this was back in fuel being $2 a gallon, and he must have been bone dry if he got enough to pay $800 on fuel when fuel was $2 a gallon. But so, whew.
I don't know. Fuel is that cheap now.
I know, dude. I would probably fall over and faint. And if fuel went back to $2 a gallon overnight, I would literally sign up for liposuction and go join the army again. Let's see. I use Mudflap versus Comdata and compare the two for the best price. See? Yeah, absolutely. See, that's what I do. I've got I don't use Mudflap to compare, but I've got a TCS card and a Pilot Flying J card and then the Comdata card. And I compare the prices between all three of those, and then I figure out where I get my best discount and who I can get the cheapest price from. And that's what I end up using. So it works pretty good for me.
Lately, I've been using the company Comdata card just because it's easier, but I have my business card hooked up to, and well, not just my business card, but my business card, and I have an A to B card hooked up to Mudflap. A to B is the way to go with Mudflap because you can double down on your discounts. But
yeah, but A to B only gives you like a nickel, dude.
It's better than 25 cents. When I got it, I had 40 cents off per gallon.
Well, yeah, but that's linking with Mudflap. I'm just saying A to B is just a nickel if you're not using that with Mudflap. That would be kind of nice. I mean, the extra nickel would count, But I mean, honestly, if these and anymore, anything counts. The big thing I worry about is how this is all going to end up transferring back to the rest of the country and commerce, because I've noticed the price of things going up at home and things of that nature, and everything's directly related to the diesel prices and yada, yada, yada.
Well, but that's just the way it works, because you can't expect these places to buy things at higher prices because we have to transport it for a higher price and not have it not go back to the consumer, Unfortunately, that's just the way it works.
Right.
You a train going by you?
No, that's my. I don't have a train running. That's my dog snoring and the APU running. He snores
Oh,
like a freight train. So
apparently.
okay, oh, dude, I'll be sitting there dead asleep, and this dog, he'll jump out of the driver's seat. He'll come in here and he'll crawl up in the bed and be all cute, make his way under the covers, and he'll lay and put his head right here, and then not even, and then I'll be dead asleep, not even realize this happened. Next thing I know, what in the world? Who let the monsters in here? And then it's the dog, and then yeah, he's So anyway, so you have a Volvo, is that correct?
Oh yeah,
What do you think about it?
I love it. It has its own little quirks. Every truck does, and unfortunately, not a lot of people know how to work on the quirks. You got to kind of figure it out on your own.
Yeah, Volvo is notorious for their proprietary technology.
But that being said, it pulls great up mountains and hills. It only has 425 horsepower, but it's got like 18 something for torque. So it's torque. All its power is really the low end.
Okay. Let's see here. What is your best week settlement since being here? Okay. So, Mark, you remember that whole that hurricane that came through and smacked Louisiana, and they sent out that whole thing wanting to do the special project with where was that?
Cardinal.
Yeah, it was. I know it was Cardinal, but what was that grocery? Well, anyway, it don't matter. And we were
Market
doing that.
basket.
No, on Market Basket. That was the place. We're not talking about Market Basket. Shut up. Anyway, we were we were running that, and we were running that. Emergency whatever they was, the emergency loads to restock everything, and we were running down into that area where they got hit with the hurricane. I think the best thing I made off that was the best paycheck I'd ever made. I ran that for a whole month. And I think that whole month I'd have to go back and get into my stuff and look at my profit loss statements. But I think I made like 40,000 just in that month. And specifically 1 week while I was doing that, I cleared a check for 16,000. I think it was.
Yeah, weren't you getting like $2,000 a day or something like that?
Yeah, it was two. Well, so it was funny. What happened was, it was $2,000 a day, and they ended up overpaying me. But the whole total of it was a lump sum check for like $16,000. So that was the best settlement I've ever had.
I've only had 1 week over here as an IC driver, and my take home was right around $3,500.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that whole thing we were doing, it was $2,000 a day, and then they took our percentage out of that, and I ran 7 days. I was available 7 days a week, so it's $2,000 a day times 7 days, 14,000 times 0.67. So yeah, I'd clear. That's what was netted to me was $9,380 after the $2,000 a day for the 7 days I was available every week. So, and obviously I'd take the fuel and stuff out of that. So, that was a really good project. Them emergency projects, emergency relief stuff, or some of them Walmart accounts, they pay pretty good if you can get on them just in time for Christmas or whenever something happens. But I wasn't even there for the money. I just wanted to be there. I was wanting to run the freight to restock the stores to try to help everybody out. And then just randomly overnight, we're done. Then they gave the account to the company drivers. So.
No, I never saw anything come across for that.
Yeah, it filled up super quick.
Because I never got anything about it.
Yeah, no, that's like they also picked up a Tyson account for the company guys, and they said, "Oh, we got it," and then it was full. So.
And now they're trying to get people for the Dollar General and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, no, I know somebody who ran that. It was not a good idea.
Yeah. Let's see. Your best, Mark. Your best was $52K for best month. Oh, there goes my camera again. Hit that 30-minute timer. Let's see. But I can steadily pump out 10K weeks. It's crazy. I mean, Yeah, dude, if you can find that lane and that thing, that niche to get into, man, you can make some killer money here. It's just it depends on where you live, how much you like to go home. I had a lot of kids. I was very productive in my younger years, so I like to go home a lot and spend time with those kids. You know, my wife, she did, you know, she's a little bitter about how many kids we have, but she loves them all. She's a great woman, so she likes when I'm home. Give her a break. Lord knows she deserves it. Got a whole football stadium full of kids, it seems.
You and your little minions.
Ah, dude, I love all my crotch fruit. They are awesome. The best thing in the world anyone can have is a semen demon. They are just amazing. Sorry, we're getting off topic here. We're getting personal. We're supposed to be talking about trucking. How dare I? So, so what area? Okay, let's see. Uh, yeah, you flew home for 5 days, left the truck at the airport. I mean, yeah, dude, if you can, go for it. I mean, I know a lot of people who, like, the end of last year before 2022 started, they were out there running in California and they were just killing it over there because they were just running around California, Oregon, Washington, and that just up and down the coast, and they were just killing it. Did you get in on any of that last year? Or? I mean, I primarily like to run in the Midwest. I don't go out to California, especially right now with fuel prices being so high, unless it pays really, really well to do so. But primarily, I tend to stay in the Midwest. That's kind of where I like running. I don't really go north of Pennsylvania, and cost of Pennsylvania is fuel there. I don't even go there anymore if I can avoid it, unless it pays me good enough not to care. God,
I only go there if I can get enough fuel to get there and get out, and then get fuel again after I can get out of there.
For the right dollar amount, you know, I've taken the green weenie for the right dollar amount before here. Although sometimes they could grease it, that'd be nice. Put some hub oil on it or whatever. So.
Oh, come on. We both know you just wish they'd spit on it.
There you go. Crushing it from Salinas to Hermiston, Oregon for $6,200 a week. Yeah, dude.
Wow.
I saw. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. There was people making some killer money over there last year. It sucked. I caught the last part of it before it all really like died off this year. I went out there. How long was I out there? Like 3 weeks. I was stuck out there. I swear I have touched every freaking road over the Rockies between Montana to Arizona to Nevada to California and everything in between.
I remember you called me up and said you were deadheading to Montana. I'm like, don't do it.
No, I didn't deadhead to Montana. I took a load to Montana. Then I deadheaded down to Wyoming to a mine where they mined out cat litter. And I sat there for an entire day, bored out of my mind because there was no cell service to watch TV. Thank God I have books on the truck. I think I read
the Switch.
Yeah, that wasn't even any fun. I got bored of that after 20 minutes. I think I read the first 3 books of the Bible while I was there. Which, good read, but yeah.
Until it gets to this one was begotten by this one, and you're like, am I supposed to remember this?
Yes, you are supposed to remember that. But anyway, let's see. Deadheading from El Paso to Los Angeles for $8,200 a mile runs. Dude, absolutely. When I had one like that last summer too. I was what was it? I took a load out of Arkansas to Oregon, and it was paying. I booked it at like 58. Once everything settled out, it came down to on my settlement was 6,800, and I took a 34-hour reset. I got there on a Thursday. I took a 34-hour reset, and then I slow rolled it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. down to SoCal out of Portland for a load that came back across to Michigan for like 7,500. See, that's one thing. I'm not a fan of leaving my truck sitting. If I end up somewhere and it's dead, I will deadhead to the next state to get in a better market. That happened to me this year in Colorado. I was out there. I delivered to Loveland, I think it was, and I was out in Colorado, and there was no freight coming back. So what we did was we went out. I was looking and looking and looking. Took my 34, and then after that, there was just nothing, and it was a holiday. So I took the whole day on the holiday, and I ran from Colorado to Kansas, and then started my week. Texas to Kansas is where the money's at now. Hunter, didn't you get on that for a while? And
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I wish I never left it.
Yeah, and then you went to the East Coast and realized that fuel sucks over here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back down to Texas to run the Texas to what was that? I was running pretty much Dallas to Topeka.
Mm-hmm. See, my best runs are typically like from Kansas to Pennsylvania, back to Indiana, and then Indiana to Kansas, and then start it all over again. I could be home every weekend. Mark, I am from the great corn state, Indiana. That's all we have is fields of corn and soybeans. I don't even register on a map. My town is so small.
I'm from New Hampshire, which is basically where nobody wants to go. Getting there sucks.
You're up there from the Boston area. You go any further north, you're going to be going A all the time.
Sad thing is I've been up by the border.
Yeah. My brother's from Connecticut, and he would go up to Maine and go hunting. And every time he would come back, and from being up there hunting with his old man, he'd talk kind of funny.
I will say this: if you get a chance to go up there in the fall, when all the leaves are changing colors, you should do it. If it pays well enough, you should do it. It is beautiful up there.
Mark, you are from Newburyport, Massachusetts. I have no idea where that's at. I know Boston and Massachusetts, and that is...
Mark, you know where Concord, New Hampshire is? Because that's where I spent most of my life.
Hold on. Wait, aren't the guys from New Hampshire, like, enemies with the guys from Massachusetts?
I'm being nice.
Is that or is the guys from New Hampshire really the bad guys? Which is it, Mark?
Well, Mark, you know our nickname. You know our nickname for you guys, don't you, Mark?
Yeah, he says he knows where you're from.
Yeah. We got that wonderful masshole nickname for you guys.
I don't know. Man, the one time I went up to Massachusetts when I was with that reefer company, I'll never forget. It was the first time I'd ever seen this happen. I was parked at some little bitty no-name truck stop in the middle of nowhere off the highway. And I had to hunt for this thing because it was hard to find. I parked my truck, opened my door. There was a freaking a hypodermic needle out there from where someone was banging heroin, and I'm just like, never mind. Tank, you're gonna hold it till in the morning. Lock the door.
Depends on where you are in Massachusetts. Not all of Massachusetts is bad.
Okay, Bethlehem, PA. Okay, ML3. Hey, I like Bethlehem. It's pretty good out there. We got a lot of stuff that goes out that way. Not too bad.
As long as you can stomach the fuel prices, you're good.
Mark says his nephew works at a homeless shelter in Concord. Dude, that's awesome. Good on him.
Sweet.
We need that. That's awesome. That takes a special type of person to do that. I am most definitely not that person.
Unfortunately, Concord has a huge amount of homeless people. A lot of them are unfortunately ex-military, from what I've heard. Yeah. And they'll go. You don't have to go too far in the woods. You'll find the homeless camps. Yeah. And it's really sad.
We like in my area where I live, being such a small, tight knit community, we don't, being a little bitty town, we don't have those issues. Like we make sure to take care of our people, but I understand in larger cities that's not always possible. But the whole homeless vet thing that irritates the daylights out of me. Being that I spent several years of my life in the army, But anyway, but so anyway, so what's everybody else's impression here been with USA? They're ML3 and Mark. I think you guys are the only ones left. It's probably getting super late. Do you guys like it so far?
Here.
Yeah, that's what I got. So, do y'all like it here? I mean, do you like the changes that you've seen, or do you have high hopes for the future, or are you guys still kind of nervous waiting to see what happens with these fuel prices? Oh, the dog's about to start yipping. Let's see. Do you think the lease purchase here is the best? Well, I can't necessarily say that I think it's the best. I like the fact that USA's hands aren't in my truck. If I want to take my truck and go to Schneider or Landstar or Mercer or Arter or whoever I want to go to, all I got to do is make a couple phone calls and that's it. The fact that their hands are not in the pot when it comes to my truck and how I run and how I operate, I find to be a huge pro in the book. I mean, USA, technically theirs isn't a lease purchase because, their hands, it's not their equipment that you're leasing. It's
right,
not
you go through a third party for it.
Yeah. But let's see. It says it's the best 30 years OTR, the best place for me. It's an easy 360K. Dude, absolutely. Dude, if you're making that kind of money, you're doing great. I mean, why if you're doing that good, why leave, I mean, if you're killing it, man. Let's see. Only your first week, but so far I'm enjoying it. Okay. See, that's how I was. Like I thoroughly enjoy it because as long as I do my job, I show up on time and I don't screw up and I communicate effectively, nobody calls me. Everybody leaves me alone. And my team is great. I don't need to be micromanaged. I'm kind of grumpy if you call me about 40 times a freaking day. I get really angry.
You haven't yelled at me yet.
No, but that TQL broker never called me back.
I remember that.
Yeah. I never got another TQL loan after that one. They called me every hour on the freaking hour, man. They wouldn't even let me sleep. It was 3:00 in the morning. And they tried to lie about it.
One of the cool things I like about the lease program here is there are multiple different places you can go get your truck from, multiple different scenarios. And then when you get your truck, it's not like a lot of places where the company rules necessarily apply to the owner ops. So every company truck has to have a camera, an outward and an inward camera. But us as independent contractors, we don't have to have that. We lose a percentage for not having it.
Hold on. I have the camera in my truck, and they still don't bother me. But I don't think it works. I had someone back into me actually at the exact same truck stop I'm parked at today to get this trailer worked on. And I punched the button, and I got out half naked, ready to just chase this guy down. And as I open up my door with everything swinging in the wind to some poor guy who don't even speak English, screaming at me because I'm all, I'm covered in whatever. So I shut my door and pushed the button like 6 times, and the camera still never caught the guy. But the insurance, kicked in, which is okay. But yeah, I'm having them take it out because it doesn't work.
Speaking of insurance here, why don't you tell everybody about the deductible buyback?
Ooh, yeah.
We should have.
So the deductible buyback, I absolutely love that stuff. It is fantastic. For the measly little price, this is going to sound like a sales pitch. I might be in the wrong career, but for the measly little, what is it, $7.12 a week?
706.
Whatever, 706, 7012, 6 cents, whatever. Anyway, split the difference. Pick a number you like. It's a minuscule amount. You get this wonderful option to where it lowers your deductible from $5,000, huge, to $500. You can afford the deductible for the insurance, and they're quick, efficient. They don't, at least in my experience, they worked well with me. Everything settled out and it was kosher. Got the truck done. Wham, bam, done. Everybody's happy.
The other thing I can recommend for you is to get yourself a dash cam.
Yeah, I need to get me one of them that records constantly. I got one that records, but it only records when the truck's turned on.
Yeah, mine does a loop recording 24 hours a day. I'll send you a link to the one I got.
I got you.
It's not that expensive, and it does GPS, everything.
I got you. So do you guys in the chat, do you guys run your own dash cam, or do you guys just have another means of monitoring that, or are you just like, screw it, I don't care, hit me? Let's see. ML3 says, I got my truck through Tel, and although they do make it difficult to move the truck, it's still an option. Yeah, that is true. What is it to move your truck with Tel? Is it $10,000 and 2 months settlement or 2 months payment? Or am I speaking incorrectly here, ML3? Please drop some knowledge on me so I'm not spouting any more nonsense here. But I'm just going off what I've heard on YouTube and what I actually remember, which could probably be inaccurate. I've been hitting the head a couple times in my lifetime.
Only a couple.
Dude, I'm not even lying. I'll be sitting here driving down the road and bam, there comes Luigi with a Mario shell to the back of my dome. Or what, a turtle shell.
You and your turtles.
Man, dude. Well, that's an off-topic story. I got a funny story about a turtle shell that I got in a lot of trouble for. Anyway, okay, so Mark wants to know, where did we get our trucks? I got my truck through Pro Lease, through they used to be B&G. It cost me $750 a week for the truck, $550 for the truck note, and $200 for maintenance. And the best part, if I can find my wallet, which is not where it's supposed to be, right here, they give us our own maintenance card. So there's no calling anybody, there's no nothing. Like when I was at home, I needed hub oil. I went to my local Napa where I have my business account with for all my truck parts. I bought a 5-gallon bucket of hub oil like that, no questions asked. So Hunter, before we address that, where do you get your truck from? You said SFI, correct?
Yeah, I get my truck through SFI. It was $6,500 down, and my payment is about $1,250. Well, my payment combined with my maintenance fund is about $1,250 a week. But the cool thing about SFI is you have the ability to pay extra, and that extra is used when you have a crappy week or you go home or whatever to pay your payment. Or at the end of your lease, you can take all of what's left in your extra and your maintenance fund, combine it, and pay off your truck.
Okay. So let's see. ML3 Trucking says $10,000 plus 2 months of a truck payment and a $650 credit score to move your truck from Tel. Boy, they want to make sure you got your nuts in a row, don't they? Or ducks, sorry. I was thinking that's nuts, but, Freudian slip.
For me, it differs from which company I want to go to. Right now, it would be the most expensive for me to move my truck because I've only been with them for about 2.5 weeks. At 6 months, it dropped considerably, but they can't give me an exact amount because I'm not really looking to move anywhere right now.
I got you. So for Pro Lease to move your truck, according to the last phone call I had, when everything was starting to get super tight before they adjusted the fuel surcharge, according to the people that I spoke with in the powers that be, it's $5,000 and you can take your truck anywhere. There's no limit. according to what I was told. Unless they change that, I believe that's still accurate. So $5,000 for pro lease, hand them them Benjamins, and boom, you get out of here. You can take it wherever you want. So I don't know. Let's see. Mark says, I wish I would have got an SFI truck. I'm hooking up a generator in June. Did you go to work at Schneider, Hunter?
No, I was a company driver here at USA Truck to start, and then I ordered my truck in November of last year through SFI and had to wait until about 2.5 weeks ago to get it. We have this annoying thing called Idle Smart that mine has yet to actually function. I've been having to go through a little bit with them, but quite honestly, I have an EPU, which is an electronic AVU. It's just 4 batteries in the catwalk. It runs my AC, and then I've got an inverter. The Idle Smart's supposed to kick on kind of like when the batteries get low, it kicks on for 2 hours. It kicks the truck on for 2 hours, idles, and shuts it back off. Mine's not functioning, but most of the time I'm awake before my truck starts buzzing at me now. Someone is fancy.
I've got an APU on my truck, so.
Hey, at least yours is more reliable than my Idle Smart crap.
I got to work on that APU. Okay, so since I've had this truck, my APU has been the bane of my existence. Since I've had this truck, in 1 year on my APU, I put a new condenser, a new alternator, a new water pump, a new thermostat, a new fuel pump, new inline fuel filter, and then my regular service.
Fuel filters for?
The fuel pump draws the fuel out of the tank. The inline fuel filter filters it before it gets to the fuel pump. Then the fuel pump sends it to the secondary unit, which filters out the fuel again, which then sends it to the injector.
You're being too literal about this.
You know, come on, guys. Basic mechanics.
You're being too literal. Yeah. All I do is push a button and it kicks on the battery for 10 hours at least.
ML3 Trucking says he likes SFI as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's a waiting game. It's a waiting game, and now the truck rate, the expense to get on the list has gone up due to the prices of trucks. And quite honestly, I hate to say this because most people probably want to get their own truck, but you're better off waiting and seeing what the truck market does.
Yep. Let's see. Mark says, thank you for helping other drivers. We are all brothers and sisters. And Linda, hand up. Dude, that's what I'm talking about. We're all, it's never just me. It's the whole, it's us as a whole. One team, one fight. We have the exact same mission, deliver the freight and service our customers and go home. And hopefully we make enough to feed our family, which we are. So that's how it should be. There shouldn't be like how you see anymore where there's all this animosity and it's, oh, this guy said this and this said that and I'm offended. None of that matters, okay? You're right. You're absolutely 100% right. We should be helping more people and we should be mentoring those who are coming into this to be able to help them steer clear of the pitfalls that we fell for. So, ML3 Trucking. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the truck payment scared me too, buddy. I wanted something used, and this is where me and Hunter are different. He wanted something brand new because he practically lives in his truck. I wanted something used because I'm mechanically inclined and I like working on stuff. And I wanted something that I would be able to work on and be able to do the maintenance to and didn't have to have a bunch of people's hands in it because I'm very picky about who works on my stuff. If I do it, I know it's done right. And if I can't do it, I know I have resources and people I can take it to who know how to do it. So I've built those relationships over the years that I've been, turning wrenches back before I did this so that's why I wanted to use truck. One, it's cheaper. I can be home more because I don't have that huge note and I know how to work on it. Whereas, Hunter's. So what's the deal with that, with your truck and maintenance and how people work on it? And are you allowed to work on your own truck? I mean, it's a Volvo, so my camera's about to die. Hold on, buddy. I will, Hunter. You go ahead and explain that. I'll be right back. I'm gonna hook up my other camera.
All right. Well, for the most part, I mean, I don't have to go through anybody. I can pay for it on my own. Anything that's not warranty, I can, get done anywhere. But anything covered under the warranty has to be done at a Volvo dealership, including all my PMs and stuff like that. But small things you can get done from anybody. You can pay for it, or you can call SFI and use your maintenance fund and have them help find somebody to come fix your truck. And by the way, the truck payment does scare you a little bit. It is very high. It's considerably high, but all the trucks now are brand new trucks. So to an extent, you get what you pay for. I've seen the Freightliners having quite a few issues. Personally, I don't really have very many issues with my Volvo, but the thing is that when I do, I call SFI. They're just doing the same thing I'm doing. They're looking through the manual to try to figure it out because they don't know. A lot of it's trial and error, at least for me. I did my research on this truck before I got it, and for the most part, I knew way more than they knew about the truck. Oh, the biggest problem I had so far, well, there's been two problems that were quite irritating. The first one is my truck would not shift out of neutral. So I had to figure out how to fix that. It's confusing to explain without showing somebody. And then the other problem was last week I had one of my airlines literally just blow apart on me. And I started looking at it, and it looked like it had knife abrasions to it. They never ended up billing me for it. So I guess that's a win. Beyond that, like I said, I've only had the truck for 2.5 weeks, so I don't have a lot of problems that I can really report on. When Joe comes back, he might have some more on his truck once he finds his other camera and hooks it up. Do you guys have any? Technically, I use my mom or my dad's address as my mailing address, so I don't have to pay the state income tax for other states. My mom now lives in Kentucky, so mostly I'm using my dad's address. I do go home to New Hampshire a couple times throughout the year, but quite honestly, my home is the road. I don't have an apartment. I don't have a house. I couch surf when I go home. Plan is in about 5.5, 6 years to have the truck paid off basically 2.5 to 3 years, and in about 2.5 to 3 years after that, be able to buy a house. But I hardly ever go home. That's the big difference between me and a lot of other people. I don't have a desire to go home very often. I know that once I buy a house, I'll have a desire to go home. But until then, why not stay out and make the money while I can? I don't have a wife. I don't have a kid. The only thing I got is my dog. $1 million. Wow. Yeah, that's expensive. Jeez. I mean, I'm looking to spend maybe $400,000 at the most. And the reason for it being so high is because I want to get a house that I don't really have to do anything to. And it's got some land so that my dog can run around and I can park the truck at home. Yeah, Texas is nice. That's where I'm actually looking, is Texas. I'm looking more towards the west side of Texas, over by Amarillo. I have a friend that I've known ever since I got my CDL who lives in Amarillo, and it'd be nice to be living near somebody I know.
Hey, I'm back. Sorry about that. All right, what'd I miss? Sorry about that, y'all. Had to get that camera situation taken care of. Had to hook the GoPro up here, and it did not want to play nice. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this live stream to go on this long, so I was not prepared. I need to get a dummy battery for that camera so this doesn't happen ever again. So
or just leave it plugged in.
Well, see, the particular camera doesn't pull power from an actual. So it's
the one downside so far, huh?
Yeah, it's not like a Sony camera. It's a Canon, but I like it much better. So
anyway, check out the comments, see that you can start commenting on stuff. It's now your turn.
Oh, it is now my turn, huh? Okay. What? Check input source. My everything's all jacked up here. That's okay though. There we go. We're back. That's working again. All right, cool. Let's see. Missed home 16 years. Mexico, would love to go back. Dude, I bet Mexico's fun. Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know. I like that tequila, and I don't think it likes me. I don't like my wife. Let's see. El Paso. El Paso's kind of nice. Pretty close to Tijuana, though. I don't know. Everybody's pretty cool there. I like the big boot store y'all got in El Paso. That thing's pretty cool. And practically no overhead. SFI isn't a bad option for you. I own a home and married, have 3 teenagers. Dude, I feel you on the teenagers. Mine are not. Mine like to act like teenagers. They think they're big, bad, crazy kids. My semen demons are evil some days, but by God, do I love my kids. They are fantastic, wonderful children. So, yeah, I mean, and that's another thing. Talking about having no overhead, absolutely. Like, all my stuff is paid for. I own my cars. I don't have a mortgage. Everything on that end is, for me, is very simple, easygoing. So really the only thing I got to make sure is that the utilities are paid and the insurance on the car and the truck note and all my expenses here are paid for. And that's pretty much the only overhead that I have here.
My only overhead is my cell phone bill and whatever the dog needs.
Yeah, well, cell phone and internet for the truck. There's that too. You know, getting all kinds of close
cell phone, internet from the truck, and whatever the dog and I need on the road. That's about it.
Yep. So
I got one of the best deals out of the whole thing, and I've been doing it that way for almost 7 years now.
Man, I hate the way this GoPro camera looks. The DSLR looks way better. Oh well.
I know it shows all the weird things for you now.
I know. I don't blur everything out. Now it did look organized and nice. Now it's not. Yeah, this is the camera I was using. It's dead.
Oh, see, now you woke the dog up too. Now you're in trouble.
Great. I don't know. That depends on what he wants. He's got dog food and water. He can't need much more of anything. So do you guys in the chat that are here with us, do y'all have any pets on the truck that ride with you? You got a special Fido, maybe a kitty cat, raccoon, parrot, something weird? I don't know. I knew a guy one time who tried to get a miniature pony on his horse. I don't think so. Personally, if it would, yeah, exactly. If it was me and I was gonna do something weird, it would have to be like a pot-bellied pig, like a bacon seed is what it would have to be, like legit. Speaking of which, I'm not allowed to go to the petting zoos anymore back home because I happen to feed one of our pigs a strip of bacon. I wasn't paying attention. They don't let me back anymore. They said that's inhumane. So my bad. Sorry, kids. Dad's not allowed to go to the petting zoo anymore.
One of my friends feeds his parrot chicken. So.
Yeah. Well, it was actually kind of funny. My daughter, the last time we were home, I was at the Tractor Supply where I was getting my oil and all that junk. And she goes, "Hey, Dad, I want to go play with the chickens." And I go, you remember what happened last time we played with the chickens? She goes, "Oh, yeah, that guy tried to tell me we couldn't. You yelled at him, and then they made us leave." I was like, "Yeah, let's not deal with the chickens this time." So we got what we needed, and we left.
You tend to get thrown out of stores.
No, I tend to get removed from stupid people because I don't have a filter.
Do we need to bring up Menards again?
No. Let's see. ML3 says no, not in the truck. Do have English Bulldog at home. Are those the ones with the smashed face, or are those the ones that's got the really long snout? I can't remember.
I think those are the ones with the smashed face.
Maybe, or maybe I'm thinking of the French Bulldog. That's the one that I think looks weird. I like bulldogs. They're cool little things. I just got El Tanko over here. So
I've got a German Shepherd Husky and Grey Wolf mix. It was literally staring directly at me right now.
Yep. I broke my cable. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know. I miss the days of not having a dog on the truck sometimes, but once you had your dog on the truck for so long, like it gets really lonely when you don't have them. That was one of the first things that I learned. I always had wanted a dog on my truck. All right, good night, Mark. You're going to bed. Be safe, buddy. Keep the rubber sight down. Come check out our next live feed and drop us. Before you go, smash that like button for me, buddy. If you haven't already, or the dislike button if you think I'm a goofball. That's acceptable also. So, but anyway, so yeah, it is getting late. I guess we'll it's almost midnight. So let's go through our final goodbyes and sentiments and statements, all that and what have you. So Hunter, do you have anything constructive to add here as far as what your expectations are and what you plan to accomplish while you're here?
For the most part, I went over my expectations while you were gone, but since you're back...
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate the like. Thank you. Sorry. Had to interject for my buddy there. Go ahead. Sorry.
Since you're back, in my situation, the best plan for me that I'm working on is paying off this truck in 2.5 to 3 years. Since I have very few bills, and you ran out of water.
No, I got one right here. Well, ha,
And
found it.
about 2.5, 3 years after that, I'm planning to buy a house somewhere in Texas, probably. Beyond that, that's about my plans for the next 5 to 6 years.
Okay, ain't too bad. Um, I just want to feed the family. My goals are real simple. I don't want much. I want to work as less as possible and be home as much as possible.
You have a reason
So
to be home. I don't.
that's true.
That's why I stay out here as long as I do.
If I keep buying dumb stuff like this, I got to stay on the road if the wife finds out about it. But oh well. Everybody's got to have a hobby, right?
So. Don't worry. I just spent most of my first check on stuff for the truck already. So.
Yeah, you'll spend a lot your first year reinvesting back into your company, getting things set up. Once you establish business connections and things of that nature, I mean, the big thing's going to be like finding a place you can get parts or like your oils and stuff, depending on if you're going to do the work yourself.
That's one of the things I did is we have a Volvo dealership not too far from where I live and not too far from where our brother lives either.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to both of them and set up business accounts with them.
I got you.
So,
see, I've got sorry, go ahead.
So I, on top of having SFI in my business account, my maintenance fund with them, every time I go get work done at either one of those shops, I get a discount because I have a business account with them.
I got you. So anyway, so if anybody wants to reach out to you and ask you any SFI questions or anything like that, is there a particular way for them to get a hold of you? A preferred method? Do you want them to look you up on your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, email? Where do you want them to send their media pics to?
I will leave both of my emails in the comments for this video.
Okay. All right, good deal. And then everybody knows how to get a hold of me. Either send me a message on here, my Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. It's all linked. And email is going to be dirtyhat45@gmail.com. So if anyone needs to shoot me an email or you have any questions, hit me up. Let me know. Just drop a comment somewhere on one of my videos to let me know that you sent me an email. So if it goes to the spam folder, I can find it. So any last questions, anybody, before we take off out of here? We're going to give it a couple minutes, and if we don't get any more questions, we're going to go ahead and close this thing down. Do you have any questions, Hunter?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Hey, what about Earl?
No, that has absolutely nothing to do with trucking.
You knew that was going to come up with one of these. You knew it.
Nope, that has absolutely zero to do with what we're doing.
One of these nights when he's in a really joking mood, he'll probably tell you the story about Earl.
No, I'm not, because if she ever finds me, I'm a dead man, probably. Or I'm going to get... No, just no.
You'll be the chicken in the next fried rice.
I'm okay with this. I love me some fried rice. So, all right. I am going to assume that we don't have any more questions here. So, at an hour and 43 minutes, y'all, I'm going to bid y'all adieu. C'est la vie. Adios. Good night. Guten Morgen. Or guten Nacht. Guten Morgen. Good morning. Whatever you want to call it. I love y'all. I love y'all. We'll see you next time. Y'all have a great night.